Oh my gosh, I just had that moment where you like accidentally see yourself in your front facing camera and you're like, am I wearing a neck brace? And then you're like, oh no, I'm just really fat and I have a big double chin. Hey, it's Hot Mess Express. It's dark and I am recording this video in my driveway after running to get a couple things from the store. And I'm like, oh, this is so weird. But you want to know it's even weirder? You can't see this. But the people on the corner sold their house to like one of those cash offer places. Where I live, the market is like, it's insane. Like, fastest, like, all over the news, the Boise area is like exploding with people moving here, population. And so, housing is really hard to come by, like affordable houses. So anyway, this guy on the corner sells his house to one of those cash places, which I'm like, why did you do that? You could have got so much more money. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But what's so weird is that there is a motorhome parked on the side of the road, and whoever is flipping that house lives in that motorhome. And I'm like afraid to let my children out because you like hear in the news of all these like terrifying stories of people like taking children. And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but whoever I don't know if it's one guy, two guys, three, I don't know how many people are living in the motorhome, but I can't wait for them to be done flipping that house because it just creeps me out. I don't know what's going on in that motorhome. Anyway, hi. The last 2 weeks have about did me in mentally, emotionally. It's just been a really hard couple of weeks. All my kids got sick. My baby got croup after having a cold. My 3-year-old had croup. My son had a cold and pink eye. I'm like, do we not know how to wash our hands? Do I not know how to sanitize my kids' hands? Like, what is the deal? We give them a gummy vitamin every night. Anyway, sickness wore me out. And then being stuck in my house. It brings up like all of those horrible feelings of, I hate living here. I don't have any friends here. I'm alone all the time. My husband works. And I start to get like really, really, really freaking bitter that I live where I live. I love my house. The little city that we live in, it's charming. Every single person that I do know, I adore. There's not a person that I don't like here. I just don't know very many people. And there's nothing that excites me about living here. There's no place that I like love to go. There's places that I will go, but especially this time of year, I just constantly feel like there is nothing here for me other than, well, family, but like, I don't know, the more kids I've had, the more I feel like I have just had to like say, peace out, love you, goodbye, never see you again, to parts of myself that used to really be that stress relief, that recharge, that, I don't know, fill my own bucket. Like, I just feel like I'm running on empty. But what makes that worse is that the stress of trying to stay on a diet, a low carb diet, a ketogenic diet. I don't know how I did keto through like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of that. I don't know. But something about feeling out of control, kids being sick, like nothing here for me, like depression swallowing me up. I have just been in a terrible binge cycle for a long time. I don't know how many weeks. And that is like so depressing when you've done so good. I had lost up to like 17 pounds, and then I just like didn't lose any weight. And I'm like, February's going to be my month. It's my month. I'm reining it in. And all I did was fall on my face. Eat all the things. I just feel like this YouTube channel, I'm like, all I have done for the last 3 years is have babies and postpartum depression and get really, really fat. But what's funny is that I still don't think that I'm going to be this way forever. Like, I'm still not resigning myself. I'm just like, this is a bad time for me to try to lose weight and make a bunch of progress, because we all know that losing a significant amount of weight is going to take a freaking long time. I'm not just going to lose like 100 pounds in like a year or two. I don't know, maybe 2 years. But even losing that much weight that slowly requires the daily grind, the daily sacrifice, tracking what you eat, making sure that you're eating enough protein so that you're not losing your muscle mass, making sure that you're balancing your macronutrients, drinking your water. I mean, it's all the things, which means you don't eat cake at every birthday party. Maybe we eat cake at your own birthday party for the year. You don't go out on date night and like, I don't know, go get a treat at the end of your date. You do like non-food related dates. You don't, I mean, there's just a lot of things that you don't do when you're trying to lose a lot of weight, and you have to do them for a long time. But right now, I am in the thick of the hardest stage of my life. I keep on saying this year has been the hardest year of my life. But that's because it has been. Up until, like, this whole year, I feel like I've always been able to fill my buckets back up. Like, do things that I want to do, maybe on a smaller level, get out, you know, be in nature, like go on a hike, go camping, you know, just like little bits and pieces. But this last year, I did not get to do any of that. Part of it was recovering from a C-section. Part of it was having a newborn baby. Part of it is that I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but not every member of my family loves to go out all the time. So there's that. That's hard. It's a challenge. We've been trying to pay off debt, you know, for the last 3 years, and we have done a lot of sacrificing to do that. We've paid off pretty much everything but our student loans, and that's really hard because I've been a stay-at-home mom this whole time. So there's budget things that are hard. And the other thing that I realized this last week is I'm not going to identify my child, but I have one of my 3 children struggles in new situations, scary situations, social situations, and the last 4 days has had meltdowns that like leave me shaking, on the verge of tears, in public, lots of bystanders, which I don't care. I don't care who's watching, but it's exhausting when I have 3 kids to have to focus on the one with that intensive, like, screaming, trying to escape, seatbelts, trying while I'm driving, like, are you gonna hurt the other kids, like, flailing, you know, in 20 minutes of this. And we go to counseling once a week. We have been for several months. So I feel like I understand what's going on, but we just had some setbacks this week, and it just broke me because I've always known that like play dates were really, really hard, exhausting. When it was time to go, the tears were, we're like barely walking, and like I'm getting like bloody noses from like these tantrums. And as time has gone on, it's like, it's not just, oh, that's a 2-year-old throwing a fit, or, oh, 3 is like the hardest age. It's like we have some challenges, and I don't know what the crap I'm doing. I'm doing the best I can. I have goals in every single way that I react, everything that I say, everything that I do. But it's hard. And what would normally be like a really fun time for me to get out of the house, when these like meltdowns happen, which they happen pretty frequently. There's usually a lot of behaviors that I'm trying to manage. And so I either don't go out, or I don't get together with friends, or on the rare case that I do, I was talking to my best friend because she gets it, because she deals with a lot of the same things with her kids. She's like, I get it. You're just, by the time that happens, you feel slightly traumatized, and you feel so tired, and you're exhausted, and you just want to go home and like take a nap and have a candy bar. And I'm like, yes! Which only feeds feeling isolated and like alone, and like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? I'm in my driveway with the light on. At least I'm not living in a motorhome on the corner. Like, there's that. So, anyway, all this to say is that this weekend was like a wake-up call of like, Stephanie, why don't you just wait a minute, wait a couple years, wait until you're not like nursing a baby, managing 2 very strong-willed kids, managing one that has like some major anxiety and some sensory processing stuff. Why don't we just wait a minute on the weight loss thing? You know what? That is really hard for me to admit. It's really hard to say. But I have got to take some stress off my plate. And, dude, I can't be pulling out the food scale and like weighing my food and then feeling so guilty that I overate and then like binging for like weeks. And so I've just decided I'm not going to diet right now. I'm not doing keto. I'm not doing low carb. I'm not doing Weight Watchers. I'm not doing anything. And you want to know what's funny? Only my sister, who I talked to about this, which totally comes back to intuitive eating, which y'all know if you've been following my channel that I like have this fantasy of that life. And then sometimes I'm like, oh no, there's no way I can just eat intuitively. I'm just going to like drive right over to wherever and eat whatever. But I'm like, I got through my whole pregnancy with Sadie and I never tracked. And I had gestational diabetes. And so I'd mentally track, but I was not weighing, measuring. Like, I just really listened to my body. And then she was born and I was like, WTF is going on? Recovering from a C-section. I've got like major postpartum depression, which, by the way, did y'all see that newspaper article about women who go under general anesthesia are basically like 92% more likely to have postpartum depression? Hi, me, because I had to go under general anesthesia because it was emergency. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, yeah, intuitive eating was like not in a good headspace to do that. But right now, I'm not in a good headspace to diet. So, I'm not dieting right now. And that's really hard to admit. But as I was talking to my sister, she's like, oh my gosh, like, Steph, like, you know, from intuitive eating, like, we both know that, like, over restricting, it, like, totally sets you up for those binges. And I hate it. I hate that that book is right. Because when I try to start losing weight, I'm like, well, I have to, like, account for everything that I'm eating. Like, there's no way that I'm just going to be able to eat what I want, eat when I'm hungry, stop when I'm full, and expect to lose weight. Sorry, not going to happen. So, it's really hard to just say, I'm going to learn how to eat 3 meals and 2 snacks a day. What's so funny is it just like being like, ugh, I'm not going to diet anymore. I realize I don't eat meals. I just like snack all day. And I'm like, one of my goals is to get my kids on an eating schedule. So like at 10 o'clock every day we have a snack. 12 o'clock every day we have lunch. Blah, blah, blah. It's all part of like the goals that I work on with the parenting. I'm not in the habit of eating lunch. I'm just not. And then I'm like, oh gosh, why am I like starving and like shaky at 3 o'clock every day and then like overeat? And then when I finally get the kids to bed, because I have like no life, no identity, I'm so tired. I'm so overwhelmed and done that then I'm like, oh, let me just sneak back upstairs and just like clock out mentally. And I just like go through the cupboards and eat. I'm like a robot. Feed me. And it's like I like can sense, oh, food in this corner. Beep, 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 beep. I know, such a pretty sight. So, I'm not dieting for a while. I just can't mentally. I gotta work on stress reduction. And the only thing that like has to go right now is focusing on weight loss. But I'm gonna keep posting my weekly recipes because I love meal planning. Sorry I didn't get one up last week. I have it all filmed, but when your kids have croup, oh my gosh, it just like sent me back to being like so traumatized. Having that stupid C-section and then having a newborn and then like 2 kids and just being like, oh my gosh, like 2 kids just like screaming and crying all the time, and then like a baby that's crying and like I can't move because I've had a C-section. And she's almost a year. In 10 days she'll be a year, and I have just felt like this for like the last few weeks, just even thinking about it. So anyway, this is getting super long. Hopefully y'all watch this on like double speed. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with me. And if you have anything that you can relate to in this, please leave a comment. Tell me how you're doing so I can give you an internet hug. But if you're one of the people flipping the house and you live in the motorhome down on the corner, don't leave a comment, because I will not give you an internet hug. I will tell you to get the heck out of my neighborhood, so I'm not scared that you're going to kidnap one of my kids and take them away in your motorhome. Oh my gosh, what is this world that we live in, for reals? Okay, love you. Mwah. Bye.